creating the beat. So let's start by actually creating a beat. And we have this little bit of a kick started, but I think we're going to need to do some more with it. I've put this into 8 different beats, so we really have 2 bars going on here. And let's play what we have. And I'm going to work on this for a few minutes without talking. And then I'm going to explain a little bit what I'm doing, and then we'll add some of these other sounds as well. The goal here is not to complete the ultimate beat, but to really start simple and then explain some of the basic concepts you're going to be wanting to work through so that you'll know how to do this at the very simplest level. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to be pushing play on the space bar. Now, what I need to decide is, do I want this to be something that goes seamless all the way throughout? Do I want it to have a little bit of growth and come to some kind of build up right at the end here? Do I want to add some ghost hits in here to add something else? But I think what I need to do is start building this very simply at first and then adding some of the other things as we go. So for instance, the snare. Now, a couple things we haven't talked about yet. If I right click on each of these names, it's going to bring me some other options. For instance, I can say fill each 2 steps, 4 steps, or 8 steps, and that allows me to come up with a pattern. And we don't want that there. Let's do that in the hi-hat and do it every 4. And I don't like that either, so let's try every 2 steps. And I don't really like that either, but that's a start for a simple beat. And we can change some of these because I'm going to approach this a little bit in the tradition of what you might do with a real drum kit, even though this has no relationship to a real drum kit. But I'm going to pretend like there's only a certain amount of things I can play at once. And that's because I like to keep it so it's not too busy. So that if I have a hand clap come in, I'm actually going to drop out one of the hi-hat parts. And it's nice to do this in some kind of order here. So if I click that there and turn that off there. So you get the idea, we can do that. However, sometimes we can throw it in between things. Okay, and I think we need to add a couple more parts to this. We can do that up in channels. Let's add one. And in this case, let's look for something else we can add that's going to add some nice percussion sounds to this, like the Fruity Drum Synth Live. And we can explore different sounds here. So we could actually use some of these sounds and replace them if we wanted to. Let's start by just adding in some sounds here. And what we should probably do is go to the piano view, and this will allow us to actually pick them out. So we have a nice bass sound there. We could add this in to double out the kick we already have if we want to. Okay. So now I'm just going through experimenting one note at a time to find some interesting things to add to this using the drum synth, which gives us a lot more of an interesting ability to mix sounds than just these simple sample channels. This one has a whole thing all mixed together, and this is really kind of modeling after the 909, which is a pretty famous drum sequencer. Okay, so now we're at a good point. Let's go on to the next one where we're going to talk about some additional sound sources and experiment with this. But I think the picture's coming together of how you can use this to create simple drum loops, actually kind of complex ones as we were kind of getting towards the end, but still relatively simple things that we're doing. We're just adding notes on this particular view, changing velocities here, and sometimes changing notes there. So that's all we're really doing at this point. Okay, let's move on.